Hey, hello, lady. Ooh, good morning. Mm, Good morning. How are y'all? Happy Friday. Mm, Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, Joy. How are you? I was about to. It was just something in my mind that I needed to do or look up or do something real quick. I don't even know what was it. Yeah, crap. I forgot. I don't know. I know, but nice to be here. Good. I'm doing great. I am. Likewise, blessed to be here. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It was literally something that was just on my mind. So that sat down. I said, "I need to look it up real quick." I don't know what it was. Anyway, it sounds well, I didn't say anything, so I don't know. But I'm just gonna play a little bit of music, a little intermission music for a couple minutes till 7:05. Can you hear this music? Can you hear that? Sorry, I'm trying to remember what I had to look up. It was something I was gonna do as soon as I sat down, and I cannot remember. But anyway, damn it. Shoot. Me seeing your name, I just remember I never reached back out to you yesterday. I'm sorry. I'll do it today. Um, How this evening, if you're free, 'cause I'll be, yeah, I'll have a minute when I'll be able to talk later, so I'm sorry. Yeah. It's like I thought about it I think I thought about it this morning. Yesterday, I totally forgot I was doing stuff. Thought about it this morning, but it was, like, super early because I got up super early. I was like, "I'm not even gonna text her now 'cause I don't know if I'm she up." But then it's in my mind again. So, shoot, sorry. I'm gonna put it in my calendar right now so I do not forget. Will you be free, will you be able to will this evening work? You're tired because of the week. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. And I hope you get some rest this weekend. Hold on. Did y'all hear the music that's playing in that room? It's one of the I don't know. Anyways, all right. Okay, well, let's go on ahead and start. I have a deep echo. I have a deep echo? Oh, still? Huh. I don't know. Amira, could you hear the music? Because I wonder, was it that music then? Okay, maybe it was me having that music on at the same time. Oh, okay. Maybe I can't have the music on that way. Because I just had another tab opened and had the music playing, so maybe I shouldn't do that. Because before, but like the other couple days that I've been playing the music, y'all could hear the music coming on, right? Like before I got on, you could hear the music playing. I'm not playing the music now, I turned it down, but yeah, I think maybe that was it. Maybe I can't play the music from the laptop while I'm on it. I don't know. You heard it yesterday? Okay, all right. So then I just need to keep the music from my phone and not on the laptop. That's interesting. Okay, sorry. All right. Well, today is Leviticus 1 through 4. I came in after the music. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we are just trucking along. It's Friday. Brand new day. Brand new mercies. Glory to God. Um, so yeah, just gonna get this thing popping. All right, hey Nisha. I'm gonna go on ahead and pray and then just get started. Sorry. Oof. All right. Well, um, Heavenly Father, Lord God, I come before you, Lord, and I thank you, Lord God, for this day. I thank you, Father, for just waking us up, allowing us to see another day, God, giving us the opportunity to be able to come together in fellowship in your name and to be able to just dig into your word, Lord God, read your word, study your word, and just be in your presence. And I ask that you just be with us, bless this time together, God. Help us to understand your word in the way that you need us to, Father. And just fill us with more of you, Lord. Continue to help our minds to be renewed so that our lives can be transformed in the name of Jesus. So we continue to seek your word, we continue to seek your face, we continue to seek your will, Lord God, so that we can be aligned to the will that you have for us, Lord God. And we believe, and I believe that inside of your will is where we are truly the most blessed, most protected, Lord God, and just everything that we need is found in you, Lord. So I thank you, Lord, that you are God, that we are your children, we are your daughters, Lord. So I ask that you just bless this time together. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. Ready to start? Leviticus 1 through 4. Yeah, Leviticus 1 through 4 today. Oh, and then tomorrow, y'all. Um, tomorrow, hey, happy Tales from the Hair. Um, how are you? Tomorrow's probably going to be a recording. Tomorrow's probably going to be a recording. And then, so tomorrow will not be live. Yeah, I probably should just, yeah, tomorrow won't be live. So I'll do a recording. So tomorrow will be a recording. And then not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. And I'll remind you, but the 8th and the 9th, that Monday and Tuesday. So not this coming Monday and Tuesday, but the next Monday and Tuesday, those will be recorded as well. So just a heads up. Okay. All right. Leviticus 1, chapter 1. I'll be reading from the NCV version. All right. Good. Okay. Leviticus 1, NCV version, verse 1. The burnt offering. The Lord called to Moses and spoke to him from the meeting tent, saying, "Tell the people of Israel, when you bring an offering to the Lord, bring as your offering an animal from the herd or flock. If the animal is a whole burnt offering from the herd, it must be a male that has nothing wrong with it. The person must take the animal to the entrance of the meeting tent so that the Lord will accept the offering. He must put his hand on the animal's head, and the Lord will accept it to remove the person's sin, so he will belong to God. He must kill the young bull before the Lord, and Aaron's sons, the priests, must bring its blood and sprinkle it on all sides of the altar at the entrance of the meeting tent. After that, he will skin the animal and cut it into pieces. The priests, when they have put wood and fire on the altar, are to lay the head, the fat, and other pieces on the wood that is on the fire of the altar. The animal's inner organs and legs must be washed with water. Then the priest must burn all the animal's parts on the altar. It is a whole burnt offering. It is a whole burnt offering, an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. If the burnt offering is a sheep or a goat from the flock, it must be a male that has nothing wrong with it. The person must kill the animal on the north side of the altar before the Lord, and Aaron's sons, the priests, must sprinkle his blood on all sides of the altar. The person must cut the animal into pieces, and the priest must lay them with the head and fat on the wood that is on the fire of the altar. The person must wash the animal's inner organs and legs with water, and then the priest must burn all its parts on the altar. It is a whole burnt offering, an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. If the whole burnt offering is for the Lord, if the whole burnt offering for the Lord is a bird, it must be a dove or a young pigeon. The priest will bring it to the altar and pull off its head, which he will burn on the altar. The bird's blood must be drained out on the side of the altar. The priest must remove the bird's crop and its contents and throw them on the east side of the altar where the ashes are. Then he must tear the bird open by its wings without dividing it into two parts. He must burn the bird on the altar on the wood which is on the fire. It is a whole burnt offering, an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. So, this is the burnt offerings that the people and the priests are to make before the Lord. And really um the whole all of the chapters that we're reading today is pretty much just talking about the different types of offerings before the Lord. So but where all my Bible in the car, my paper Bible in the car. Shoot. I was gonna do something. So these offerings or whatever, hey, good morning. That all sounds horrible and brutal. I know, right? Like I was just, I was thinking. I don't know if I was gonna say it because I'm like, well, this was the custom back in that day or whatever for God. But I was just like, man, like it sounds gross. First of all, like just animals being cut and then blood and all that stuff is nasty. But it does sound very horrible and very brutal. But that's what they did. Glad things are not like that today. Um, but these burnt offerings was basically to show for the people to show their dedication, I guess, and their commitment and their devotion to God, pretty much. Um, and so the burnt offerings is pretty much the same for all. Like they got the burnt offerings, and then we'll read about the grain offerings, the sin offering, the fellowship offering is pretty much kind of the same, but just for hey Narisha. So um yeah. Um and of course the Lord was very specific on how they needed to come before the Lord and how they needed to give their offerings to the Lord, right? So the herd or the animals that they did present to the Lord had to be in good condition, right? says that it must be a male with nothing wrong with it. So, I mean, how they presented to the Lord, even the thanks and the gratitude that they gave to the Lord, that they submitted to the Lord, the sacrifices that they made, it still had to be done in like in a quality fashion. They still couldn't just offer the Lord anything, just scraps, just okay, here, God, I did something for you, so here you go. You know, they still had to be intentional about how they showed their commitment to God and what they sacrificed to the Lord. Um, and even though we're not sacrificing animals and all of that stuff to show our commitment and our dedication to the Lord, but I still think it's important that we are intentional with how we do show our dedication to God and how we do show our commitment to God. Are we just giving Him just the scraps? Just, like, okay, here, God, I did something for you here, or are we intentional? Are we careful? Are we doing our best to serve God or to just offer the Lord whatever it is that we feel like that we offer the Lord, if that's whatever that's your time, I guess that's your energy, if that's your service, if that's your money, however, you know, are you are you doing it with a grateful heart? Are you doing it with like intention and doing it in a quality manner? You know. Hey Nisha, yeah, Izia. So it says that there's a whole burnt offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. So I believe that just the manner in which everything was done, them being intentional, listening to the Lord, and being obedient, and what I would imagine their heart to God, um, made the sacrifice, made the aroma of their sacrifice pleasing to the Lord. They had to wash the inner parts of the animals. They had to wash them with water, wash the organs and the legs with water. So yeah, that's the burnt offering where they basically had to kill and burn the animals um, in a sacrificial manner, in an intentional and quality manner before the Lord. This has me thinking about my worship. Yeah, like how so, Joy? Is is it obligatory or really authentic at times of quality of it? Yeah, that's good to think about and to consider and actually analyze. Like when we do worship, when we do pray, when we do whatever it is that we do, for the Lord, or are we doing it like it's an obligation? Let me just do this because I feel like I have to. I'm supposed to. Let me get it out the way. Or are we doing it because it's an actual privilege? We actually want to. We actually desire to. And I'm sure. I mean, these people when they were doing this. I mean, I don't. It doesn't say anything about their heart. It doesn't say that they took delight in it or they hated it or I don't know. They didn't say anything like that. But um, I don't know. I mean, it was just the way things were. They just did it because they had to. I don't know. But we'll see in one of the other chapters that we'll read today. Um, I think they did it too as what do you call it? Like um well we'll get to it, but well yeah, never well, I'll mention it when we get there. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. But like to ask for forgiveness for their sins. Like if they made a, if they ended up sinning or whatever, and well, we'll get to that part where it talks about accidental sins. Well, we'll kind of get to what they had to do if they accidentally sin, and then tomorrow's reading will list some of the accidental sins. But anyways, the point is, I don't know how their attitude was, but I imagine though that God does care about, you know, how we present ourselves before Him and what we offer Him in the manner in which we do. I would imagine He cares about that, and I'm sure He knows that maybe sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Is it okay to not feel like it sometimes? Is it okay to be tired, but you really don't feel like it sometimes, but you do? I have to believe yes. Um, I mean, Jesus worshiped and sacrificed and did what he had to do, even though he was tired, even though he was exhausted, even though he was hurting, even though he was, not really. I mean, he was willing to go through what he went through, but he didn't necessarily want to. He asked the Lord to, if it be his will, take the cup away or whatever, right? So I'm sure there were times where he didn't necessarily want to sacrifice and want to get away and just worship, but he pushed and submitted and sought the Lord despite how he felt. So I think that the Lord understands and honors our humanity and maybe not feeling like it, not having the energy, being tired or just, really weighed down or whatever, but honoring the push through all that to be in his presence. I would I would like to believe that the Lord honors that, you know. I do. So whether it's out of obedience or, just really having the energy to just be all in, I think both honor him. Now, if it's just a straight like attitude, like, okay, God, here, I gave you, I spend time in your presence now. Ugh, I did it, like that, then as if you're doing him a favor. Now that's another thing. I don't think I don't think that glorifies him, but I don't know. So, but anyways, I think that's a good thing to point out and to look within ourselves just to see like what is our attitude when we do worship? How do we feel worshiping? Are we doing it just because we feel obligated? Do we truly get any fulfillment out of it? Are we doing it to truly honor the Lord? Like, do we approach it as if we're doing God a favor? Are we looking at it as a privilege and an honor to be in His, just to be able to worship Him, to be able to come before Him, to be able to pray, just to be able to be, you know, do what we can and do what we know how to do to seek his face and to be in his presence. Mm, stomach. All right, Leviticus 2. All right, Leviticus 2, verse 1, the grain offering. When anyone offers a grain offering to the Lord, it must be made from fine flour. The person must pour oil on it, put incense on it, and then take it to Aaron's sons, the priests. The priest must take a handful of the fine flour and oil and all the incense and burn it on the altar as a memorial portion. It is an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering will belong to Aaron and the priests. It will be, hold on. It is a most holy part of the offerings made by fire to the Lord. Sorry. If you bring a grain offering that was baked in the oven, it must be made from fine flour. It may be loaves made without yeast and mixed with oil, or it may be wafers made without yeast that have oil poured over them. If your grain offering is cooked on a griddle, it must be made without yeast of fine flour mixed with oil. Crumble it and pour oil over it. It is a grain offering. If your grain offering is cooked in a pan, it must be made from fine flour and oil. Bring the grain offering made of these things to the Lord. Give it to the priest, and he will take it to the altar. He will take out the memorial portion from the grain offering and burn it on the altar as an offering made by fire. Its smell is pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offerings belongs to Aaron and the priest. It is the most holy part of the offerings made to the Lord by fire. Every grain offering you bring to the Lord must be made without yeast, but you must not burn any yeast or honey in an offering made by fire to the Lord. You may bring yeast and honey to the Lord as an offering from the first harvest, but they must not be burned on the altar as a pleasing smell. You must also put salt on all your grain offerings. Salt stands for your agreement with God that will last forever. Do not leave it out of your grain offering. You must add salt to all your offerings. If you bring a grain offering from the first harvest to the Lord, bring crushed heads of new grain roasted in the fire. Put oil and incense on it. It is a grain offering. The priest will burn the memorial portion of the crushed grain and oil with the incense on it. It is an offering by fire to the Lord. So, this is the grain offering. Um, and again, this is just their show or an act or expression of their service to the Lord, their dedication, their commitment, and their devotion to the Lord. Um, and I have to think that because they're instructed to make this grain and or whatever they if they make things with the grain and they make the loaves of bread and stuff like that, they have to do it without yeast. Normally, like when we hear or when we've previously read of yeast in the Bible, like in the New Testament and stuff, yeast normally represents like sin or evil or like like being like what is it like Matthew or Luke on those chapters where the Lord says, "Beware the yeast of the Pharisees," right? And just like how a little yeast can make a whole batch of dough rise. So like being careful, or it's called leaven, yeast or leaven. Um, it's just how one little thing, one little seed, excuse me, one little seed planted can, essentially create a whole forest of stuff if you're not careful, right? So with the Pharisees, it was like their sin, their religious, stuff, their hypocrisy, and all of that stuff. So I have to imagine that because it's saying make it without yeast, and just the symbolism of what yeast represents most of the time when it's mentioned, um, like the grain, like I don't know, I have to believe that making it without yeast had to be just somehow symbolizing just the purity of their dedication there in their offering to the Lord. You know, being sinless and being blameless before Him, being made clean before Him. I would have to believe that there's some type of correlation there because of what yeast represents when it's mentioned most of the time in other parts of the Bible. That's my take on it. And then when it says that it must be made, excuse me, with salt, you know, wait, did I, yeah. When it says that it must be made with salt, what immediately comes to my mind is it says that we are the salt and light of the earth, right? And so, kind of like the flavor, the seasoning of the kingdom of heaven on earth. And so, I don't know if that, I don't know. My trying to connect the two would be like the salt has to be added because that's the God in everything, right? That's the kingdom of heaven. That's the flavoring. That's the seasoning. That's the you know you know? I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is, but that's the good stuff from God that's needed in the earth or whatever. And so, um, I don't know, I just trying to connect the 2 and just trying to understand and just kinda link it. There has to be a reason why they were instructed not to use yeast and why to use salt, other than just that's just how he wanted it, right? He's just specific or whatever. But because they're mentioned previously in the Bible, I'm thinking it's to do with the purity of like representing the purity of their service and offering to the Lord, and also just making sure that they are being intentional and um, understanding the sacrifice that's made with their offering to the Lord. My Bible says grain offering was given in gratitude to God for fruitfulness of the land. Okay, yeah, that that could be. There's a few different explanations, I guess, from different commentary. So that definitely could be one. So the grain offering is given in gratitude for fruitfulness of the land. Good, and that would make sense. Because at this time also we have to at this time also the the this is at they've been brought out of Egypt already, and they are you know still on their journey or whatever, but they've been brought out of Egypt. They've seen the Lord defeat their enemies and all of this stuff, and the Ark of the Covenant has been created, the Ten Commandments have been created, the Holy Tent has been created, and all of this stuff. So I think they're beyond the hardest part of their journey or whatever. So now they're kind of giving thanks to the Lord and showing their gratitude um, for the journey, even though they complained a whole lot. But so that could be Marcella. Thank you. Or I'll say Marcella, Marissa. Thank you. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's Leviticus too. So we had uh, burnt offering, um, where they sacrifice and burn the animals at the tent. Then we had the grain offering. Hey, Nikki. So Leviticus 3, we had the fellowship offering. Leviticus 3, verse 1, NCV version. All right. So, hold on. Let me Google what you just said, girl, because I don't know what language you're speaking. Hold on, let me see. Cer- Hold on. Certain je ne sais quoi. Did I say it? Hold on, let me see. What did that mean? It's French. Oh, let me see what that means. I don't know what French word. I don't know what a pleasing quality that cannot. Oh, okay. Although it's not commercially attractive, he has a certain. Oh, I think I've heard that before. A certain je ne sais quoi. Like that. Did I say it right? Je ne sais quoi. Like that. That makes him popular with the ladies. It's just like something that you really can't explain. It's just something like that. Is that what that means? That's funny. How do you say it? How do you pronounce it though? Let me see. Is it koi? Pronunciation.
in French, but anyhow, in English.
I don't know.
Bonjour, this is Julian, the Frenchman who makes French pronunciation videos here on YouTube, and we are looking at how to pronounce with the typical French pronunciation, as well as
Quoi?
how it is said in English.
Je ne sais quoi.
This
Je ne
phrase
sais
from
quoi.
French literally meaning I don't know what,
I don't know.
but it actually means a quality that cannot be described or named
Je ne
easily.
sais quoi. Oh
I
yeah.
don't know
That's
what.
right. I've
It
heard
has
that
this
before.
little I don't know what. That's what it means. How do you go about pronouncing
Je ne
it
sais
in
quoi.
French? We say, for reference, je ne sais quoi. Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne
Straightforward,
sais
at
quoi.
least there's
Je ne sais quoi. Thank you. We got a French lesson today. Je ne sais quoi. I've heard that before. I didn't know what it meant, but I have heard that before. I said coy. if somebody if somebody was French or knew French for real, heard me say that, they would probably be clowning me. You Americans. Okay, Leviticus 3, the fellowship offering. I wonder, do people who are, from foreign countries that speak foreign languages, when they hear us, like the people who are from America that don't speak those languages, like when we be trying to like either say things in those languages or whatever, and like we be butchering words. I wonder, do they be offended or do they be laughing? Do they think it's funny? Like, I wonder how they take that. Like, that's not how you say that. Like, I wonder I wonder how they be reacting when they hear us trying to speak their language. Well, but then again, I guess it's no different than us. Like when we know, like when someone that we know is not from America or doesn't know English is not their first language, so they're trying to speak English. I guess I don't know. I don't look at them no different. You can just tell that they're English is not their first language. So I wonder, is that how other um, countries view us? When I was on Arabic, they would laugh at my accent. Really? Oh, they would laugh like, "Oh, that's cute." Like, or would they laugh like, you're so dumb," like that? Like, what kind of laugh? Like, insulting or like, you know, the Chinese teacher would laugh at times when we would try and pronounce the words, or we'd be like, "Okay, we need to practice a few more times." That's funny. So it's probably like funny to them, like, yeah, that's funny. Cute. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. Wow, that's so interesting, man. Also, you know Chinese, Nisha. You know, I never, well, no, I took Spanish, but we didn't, I don't even think we had other, like, we didn't have alternative options outside of Spanish in high school when I was in school. I mean, I think now certain schools might have different language options, but all we had was Spanish. So I did take a couple Spanish classes, but other than that, I wasn't really exposed to opportunities to learn like different languages and stuff like that. And I think I could have been had I went to a different school. Had I went to one of the other schools. I ended up going to a public school, but originally I was recruited. I actually started out going to one of the non-public schools. It wasn't necessarily a private school. We didn't necessarily call it a private school, but it was like one of the honors schools. And I just not even understanding at that time. I really just, begged and pleaded with my mom just to be able to go to one of the regular schools with my friends, because a lot of the friends that we had came from middle school, elementary, and so we all, ended up going to some of the same high schools and stuff like that. And I didn't want to be one that went to the other school, not knowing nobody, and mostly other people, um, and mostly white people and things like that. Just being honest, it's like as a kid, especially growing up in the hood, in the city, it's like you would think it's like, "Oh, yeah, here's another opportunity to do something different, to go a different path," even though I mean, we wasn't necessarily hood kids or whatever, we just kinda grew up in the inner city somewhat. But still, just having that mindset, and so I was thinking about that not too long ago, just like, man, even middle school, if I had to just stay, just not been so consumed with trying to fit in, trying to follow my friends, trying to not be set apart, you know, just the difference that would have made. Could have been exposed to a little bit more, maybe chose some different paths. But anywho, that's great that you had the opportunity to take Chinese in school and stuff like that. Like that's really dope. One of my nephews is how old is he? He's 12 or 13, one of them. So he in sixth or seventh grade, one of them. He's going to Spain with his class next year, and I just think that's so dope. He's not in the public school, so it's like that's the difference between the public schools and the other schools, man. So I'm like looking back, I really wish I just would have had enough sense, and even I wish, and I don't think my mom knew that my mom was doing the best she could, but I wish, I would have just not been given a choice. Like, no, you ain't going to no another school. You're gonna stay your butt right here, you know. But not saying that she did anything wrong, but I'm just saying the choices that I would have made, just my mindset at that time. I wish I knew better. But I think that's dope. Children, people, students need those opportunities to be able to be able to be exposed to more than what they know, to what's around us, And I think the earlier you're able to be exposed to those things, the better. Not it's never too late. I mean, you can always pick up a course. You can always decide to explore and learn and broaden your horizons, I guess. But I think it's great when schools and students have those opportunities. Wow, look at you. Oh my goodness. You do, like, you even wrote it. Like, that's so dope. Have you ever been to China? I know somebody that moved to China. I don't know what she moved there for. It wasn't school. She moved there as an adult a few years ago. Actually, she moved there to China right before the pandemic, like right before everything started. I know it started in China, so that was so then like she moved there. I don't even know if she was there a month or two. She was there a very super short time. I don't know. I don't know if it was even a month. She ended up having to move right back because the pandemic. Well, um, what was it? Yeah, the pandemic started over, there or whatever, and that was like scary. So right before the rush hit here, she ended up hurrying up and moving back. So that was crazy. That's the only person I know that actually moved to China, but I know people do move overseas and move over there and love it. Like, I've heard stories and read stories, but I physically know one person. Really? Okay, Miss Stephanie, you would like to go? Yeah, that's dope. Well, you know the language somewhat. You do great over there. That's really dope. I would like to go. I wanna go, like, to their I don't know what you call it, but, like, I don't know if it's kinda like their fashion district. I don't know if they have a certain area where they make all the clothes and stuff like that. Like, I would love to go to that part just to see, like, how they actually make the stuff, where they get the stuff. Like, if there's a factory there, can I buy stuff and then have it shipped back to the US? Like, I would love to see that. Their lashes, oh my goodness, if I can go to China, whatever parts of China they manufacture most of their lashes, do you know how dope that would be to be able to get authentic lashes from China, like, straight out the factory, wholesale? Oh my god. That's why I wanna go. Your son lives in Bangkok and was in China before the pandemic. Wow. Oh my goodness. Do he like it? Like, what did he say it's like over there as a I don't know if you call it a foreigner, a transplant, what do they call people that's not from there? As an American. He lives in he lived in Asia and Middle East for 15 years. Really? That's dope. That's really dope. Oh, wow. Hmm. I was just thinking, hmm, I'm gonna plan a trip over there one day. I wanna go over there just to see. how life is. I don't think I want to move over there, but just want to visit. What's the dope? Like, what's the most interesting country that y'all have that anybody on here has visited? Has anybody visited outside of the U.S. yet? Travel internationally? You went to London? Oh, that's on my list. I'm gonna go to London. I want to go. I want to go next year. Trying to decide between that and one other place next year for my birthday. Traveling is cool. Being able to see the world is cool. Okay, Leviticus 3. Planning a trip to Bangkok really in 2025. Wow. So you would definitely enjoy yourself, get the fish and chips, and also stop by Nando's. In London? Okay. Um, is it a lot? So 2025, so with that being like 2 years, is it like is planning a trip to I don't even know wherever Bangkok is. I don't even know where that's at on the map, but wherever it's at, I know it's kind of far, I guess. But is it like a lot to plan a trip like that? Like, just is there a lot that goes into traveling to a place like that, to Bangkok? Hey, Crystal. I haven't my travels are they're a priority now. So I haven't been able to I haven't traveled internationally too much. The most I've been is to the Bahamas. That's been the extent of my international travel so far. But being intentional about changing that. So I absolutely love to travel, and I'm doing a lot of domestic travel this year, but I plan to do an international trip every year. I've been to the Bahamas a couple times. This year will be 3 times actually, but plan to do an international trip every year. I my son is a musician and works for Def Jam. Okay, Thailand. I want to go to Thailand. I really do. I don't even like animals. Definitely don't want to touch one, but I do want to ride the elephant. Trying to work around his touring. But that's wow. That's good. That's dope. Good for your son. Being from the Bahamas, my first trip was senior year of high school. I've been traveling since really went on a tour of London, Italy, France, Switzerland. Wow, that's so dope. That's so dope. I love it. I want to do one of those too. Do one of those like 7-day tours where you visit 3 or 4 different countries and all of that stuff. That's the tour I want to do. Yeah, it just sounds so beautiful. Definitely gotta make it happen. Okay, Leviticus 3. Your other son did that tour. Really? Wow, I love it. I love it. That's good that your kids have been able to travel and see the world and experience even living in different parts of the world. Like that's really dope. A trip around the world would be so dope. Like it really, really would. I wonder how long that would take, but that would be so dope. You, you visited the other Caribbean countries, really? Yeah, because when we think of when we think of the Caribbean, all we think of is Bahamas normally. Like we don't even think, oh, like the Caribbean is the Bahamas. Like we don't even think that there's other parts of the country. Oh, you visited the US cities and you in Canada now, right, Narisha? That's dope. I know I love a trip around the world. I went to most of the Caribbean islands. Really? Wow. First duty station was Korea. Oh, that's dope. A lot of people's duty station is in Korea. I know of quite a few people. That's really dope. That's one thing I think that I hear people that have been a part of the military really do get that like travel experience and that different cultural experience from the different bases and whatever you call it, um, stations and all of that stuff. You going on a cruise to the Bahamas this summer? Good, yay! That's dope. I'm going in at the end of the year. The summer cruise, I think, is the best. I mean, it'd be hot in the mug, but like it's just I don't know, it's just the best. It's super hot. It's just like just in the thick of the summer. Just it's just beautiful. Nice, yeah, good. Okay, so that's dope. Thanks for sharing your travel stories. All right, Leviticus 3, the fellowship offering. You in Canada now? Okay, yeah. Do you like the US? Well, I know Canada is not technically not part of the US, but do you like the US better than the Caribbean, or do you living there is better than what you've experienced here or Canada in the cities that you have visited? Your daughter went to Hawaii, really? You lived through her? Oh wow, that's beautiful. Well, you can go too. You can plan your trip so you can live it, experience the travel for yourself. Anything is possible. Any type of travel is possible, um, for anybody, I believe. It's just a matter of planning. So it might not be, I mean, regardless of the frequency or how often you do it or whatever, how long it takes to plan it is one thing. But I think anybody can travel to where they want to travel to. You just have to plan. So that might mean saving up for however many months or years or whatever the situation is or whatever. But anybody can travel and go to where they want to go. Marcella, I wish I could have been home to meet you. We'll still be in Canada. Will you still be in Canada this summer? Marcella's in Canada? We'll still be in. Oh, you mean when she go to the Bahamas, you're saying. I see. So you're saying you'll still be in Canada. Got you. You went to Hawaii last year for the first time. Really? You live there? Wow. That's dope. I gotta go. Aw. Just to think, the places that we visit, like the places that we like to visit, is the places like where people live. Like the tourist places, people actually live there. Like how, you know, it's cool. Okay. Leviticus 3, the fellowship offering. All right, verse 1. If a person's fellowship offering to the Lord is from the herd, it may be a male or a female, but it must have nothing wrong with it. The person must put his hand on the animal's head and kill it at the entrance to the meeting tent. Then Aaron's sons, the priests, must sprinkle the blood on all sides of the altar. From the fellowship offering, he must make a sacrifice by fire to the Lord. He must offer the fat of the animal's inner organs, both the fat that is in them and that covers them, both kidneys with the fat that is on them near the lower back muscle, and the best parts of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. Then the priest will burn these parts on the altar, on the whole burnt offering that is on the wood of the fire. It is an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. If a person's fellowship offering to the Lord is a lamb or a goat, it may be a male or a female, but it must have nothing wrong with it. If he offers a lamb, he must bring it before the Lord and put his hand on its head. Then he must kill the animal in front of the meeting tent, and the priest must sprinkle his blood on all sides of the altar. From the fellowship offering, the person must make a sacrifice by fire to the Lord. He must bring the fat, the whole fat tail, cut off close to the backbone, the fat of the inner organs, both the fat that is in them and that covers them, both kidneys with the fat that is on them near the lower back muscle, and the best part of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. Then the priest will burn these parts on the altar as food. It will be an offering made by fire to the Lord. If a person's offering is a goat, he must offer it to the Lord and put his hand on its head. Then he must kill it in front of the meeting tent, and the priest must sprinkle its blood on all sides of the altar. From this offering, the person must make a sacrifice by fire to the Lord. He must offer all the fat of the goat's inner organs, both the fat that is in them and that covers them, both kidneys with the fat that is on them near the lower back muscle, and the best part of the liver, which he will remove with kidneys. The priest will burn these parts on the altar as food. It is an offering made by fire, and its smell is pleasing to the Lord. All the fat belongs to the Lord. This law will continue for people from now on, wherever you live. You must not eat any fat or blood. That's the fellowship offering. Heading to Hilton Head in a week. What's, I don't know, Google, what's Hilton Head? What's Hilton Head? Oh, it's an island in South Carolina. Oh, it's an island? It says, between the island and mainland, the Picnic Island National Wildlife Refuge Salt Marsh hosts deer, alligators, and birds. So it's near deer to alligators and birds? Hmm. So it has beaches and golf courses. Oh, wow. I never even heard of it. That's dope. Y'all know what a very one of the most beautiful places. I ain't gonna say one of the most beautiful places, but a very beautiful place that I've never even heard of, but ended up going to last year. Well, I didn't hear of until last year. It's in Georgia and it's called Jekyll Island. It's like so beautiful. It's like this really small like town outside of I don't know what it's outside of, but I know it's really freaking beautiful there. It's like you wouldn't even know that it like exists. It's like places like that, like Hilton Head. I never heard of that, but just looking it up, like it's like wouldn't even know that exists in South Carolina. Never heard of it. I'm sorry, I will visit for extended periods, but I need my homeland. Yeah. A lot of people visit Hilton Head. Shoot, I might have to. For real. I'm gonna put that on my list of places to visit. I'm always looking for new places to visit. All right, so the fellowship offering. Um, said to be like almost equivalent to a peace offering. Yeah, Savannah. Okay, I live in Georgia and haven't been to Jekyll Island. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, it is near Savannah, and it's not. I mean, it's like within a few hours from Atlanta. I think. Yeah, I know we like drove through Atlanta or something like that. But it's so beautiful there. Was there for like a week. Went to a conference, church conference. So many treasures. I know, right? So many treasures here in the U.S. So with this fellowship offering, or what I guess some um, other commentary um, refers to it as a peace offering. One commentary says it signifies prosperity and happiness. But yeah, so you must offer all the fat of the inner organs. And then you see that they were instructed not to eat the fat or the blood. It says this law will continue for people from now on. So does that include us that go away when Jesus came? You've been to Savannah a few times, yeah. I've been to Savannah. Went to Savannah last year. I was there for a couple days. I didn't really do nothing. I mean, it didn't it didn't seem like it was a whole lot there. I was there for work. Um, so it's just like a regular city. I don't know if is there anything really special to do there. I hear of it a lot, but when I went, I'm like, oh, it's just a regular city. So, but Leviticus 3. Um, Let me see. I see when it keeps saying that whoever was offering the the animal or whatever had to lay his hand on his head or whatever. We've seen that mentioned a couple times, but um, one of the commentaries says that the offer of the sacrifice by touching the head with the hand indicates identification, symbolically shifting the guilt and penalty for his own sins to the sacrifice. But yeah, so for whatever reason, they were not to eat the fat of or the blood of the of the animals that they offered. All right, thank you. Taiwi Island is also in Savannah. Really, that's nice. People go there to the beach. Okay, I think I did hear there's a beach in Savannah. I think I did hear of that. I don't know what part I was in. I ain't seen none of that. A lot of touristy historical stuff. I did notice that. Yeah. And truth be told, that's not really the tourist history part of stuff. That's not really my thing. I mean, it could be interesting just to learn certain things, but that's not like, "Oh my god, just there's just so much rich history here." Like, that's not me. I know people who like, "Oh my god," like, that's just it just lights them up to just learn about the history of things and all that stuff, and that's not necessarily me. I like cute places. I like warm, beautiful places. You know, I like relaxing places. I don't know. I just like different places, but I don't really the history of the place or the building and all of that stuff don't really draw me. Um, but I know that does for some. That's a lot of people travel for that reason because of the history of the place, and that's just so. I can definitely see how that would be attractive to a lot of people. Leviticus 4, the sin offering. Excuse me. You know what I noticed too? It said that when it was talking about making the grain in Leviticus 2, it said they was using pots and griddles. Like, I would have thought that that stuff was more modern. And they had pots and griddles back in the Bible days. I don't know who made them, but they had pots and griddles back then. I'm sure it don't look how ours look, but they had pots and griddles. I don't think they had stoves. I imagine that they probably like made it over the fire and stuff like that. But that was interesting to me. I don't know why. I don't know what they pots was made out of. Maybe it was made out of I don't know, because apparently, they had the gold and they had the silver and all that stuff, like, they had the stuff to make stuff, so I don't know what it was made out of, but, mm, just the fact that they had it, I don't know, and that why that just stuck out to me. I was thinking the same thing about cinnamon, they probably was making cinnamon right. Right, yeah, they had cinnamon, they probably was making cinnamon rolls and all kind of stuff. A lot of stuff we think and we don't even know where it came from, but, like, they had stuff in the Bible. Mm, I'm allergic to cinnamon, I can't eat cinnamon. It's not a severe allergy, but it does break me out. And I've always had it. I just didn't know it until I um until I became aware, until I found out. But it always kind of broke me out. I just didn't necessarily know what it was. I remember the very first time I knew I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but looking back, I'm like, oh, that's what it was. Because I used to eat like some big red gum, big red gum. I didn't know big red gum had cinnamon in it, but I remember I was eating big red gum. And then, like, you know how you take the gum out and you put it on your hand? Well, we don't do that no more, but, like, back I don't know, people might still do that, but, when you take your gum out and you put it on your hand, if you about to eat something or something like that, and I remember I did that, and then, like, right where I put the gum at on my hand, it had, like, kinda welted up or made, like, a hive right there. I thought that was weird. I didn't know what it was, but then it was, like, years later, um, um, like, how long has it been now? I don't know, it's been several years now, 4 or 5 years now, well, 3, 4 years, I don't know, however, it's been a few years now that, I, realized that I was like, a lot of, foods that I was sensitive to and stuff like that, and cinnamon was one of them, and I would just notice that whenever I would eat it was something I used to eat a whole bunch of, and it had cinnamon in it, and I would notice every time I eat it, literally my face would, like, kinda break out in, like, little bumps. I didn't know exactly what it was. Come to find out it was cinnamon. And I'm like, "You know what? I've always had a reaction to cinnamon. I just didn't know." So, it's crazy. Cinnamon is so good too. I love it. Love it. I think I've been eating something recent well, not recently, I haven't ate it in a while now, but I think I was eating something that had cinnamon in it. It didn't say it on the in the ingredients, so I thought it was good, but I think it did have cinnamon in it. It was making my stomach hurt too. I gotta be careful. But anywho, Leviticus 4. If they was making cinnamon rolls, they probably was. I just wonder, like, because I mean, I guess you just don't know. I guess you really don't know, but like from the movies and stuff, and of course it's movies, but you know, like how they clean themselves and stuff like that. Like they went to the river to wash themselves. So I'm guessing they ain't had no soap or like toothpaste, deodorant and stuff like that. So I really wonder how they kept their hygiene up with just water. And if back then they didn't need toothpaste or water or anything like that, then like, but if they was okay, right? If they didn't smell or anything like that, because I'm imagining that, the men was marrying their wives and stuff like that. They was attracted to them and all that stuff. Like they couldn't have smelled. Like they could have been, they had to have been fresh, right? So I wonder like what the difference is. If they was able to stay clean and maintain good hygiene with only water back then, they didn't need deodorant, they didn't need toothpaste, they didn't need all of that stuff, then why do we need it today? Like what changed, I wonder? What happened to where like how, what in the chemical makeup of our bodies is different now to where we need that stuff? Like I don't think there's anybody on earth that can truly go without using toothpaste, soap, deodorant, or anything ever. Like at some point, you might be able to go a couple days, you know, but at some point you're gonna start to smell a little something. You're gonna start to feel a little, sticky or whatever. You're gonna start to smell a little tart. Most people, right? So I just wonder, like, and then maybe they did use that stuff and it's just never noted or never depicted in the stories or in the movies or in the shows. But if not, I really wonder how and what changed. You know? They was cooking that open fire, yeah. Griddle was probably fashioned out of stone. Probably, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would make sense. Probably using natural things like flowers and sweet smelling stuff to make a perfume. That's true, Nisha. That would make sense, I guess, yeah. So I wonder why we can't do that today then. You try that natural stuff today, for some people, it is not working. I know for me, shoot, I've tried the natural stuff before and it just don't. I was making like my own deodorant at one point. The only thing, well, I try my best to use natural and organic products anyways, with as much as possible. Um, Even like I don't use standard toothpaste anymore. I kind of make a mixture of my own. It ain't really my own. I found it off of TikTok and it works beautifully. Even my dentist was like, "What are you doing?" Like literally, your teeth are so you don't even have plaque in the places where you're supposed to have plaque. Like there's nothing for me to do. Like literally, that was what the dentist told me. So clearly, it works. But um, the only natural thing that I ain't found yet that actually works for me is deodorant. I've tried. I've made my own deodorant stuff in the past, and it works, but it don't last, and I need to last. And I tried this other natural deodorant brand line. Nope, don't work. So that's the only thing that I can't seem to figure out a natural or organic substitute for that I can either make or find that works. And by works, I mean end of the day, don't matter. You still smelling fresh, you're not smelling musty, ain't none of that or whatever. Even probably could go a couple days if I needed to and just pretty much be fairly okay. Shoot, I tried that natural deal, and I'm like, "Well, let me try because I like this brand of stuff. I use their body wash and things like that. Their lotion's pretty thick, but I love their body wash. So I'm like, "Let me try this deodorant." By the end of the day, honey, I could smell myself, and I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We're going right back. Going right back. Right back to the conventional." It's embarrassing. I'm like, "I hope ain't nobody else smell me." Shoot. You can use coconut oil to brush your teeth. Yeah. And they use flowers, I'm assuming, for fragrance, like crushed on somehow. Yeah, they had ways, yeah, because they were eating fish. Well, that's true. They was eating the raw and natural stuff, so I'm sure it didn't digest in a way that created different stenches and unhealthy bowels and all of that stuff. They didn't have the toxins in their food. Yeah, all the additives. That makes sense. Yeah, because a lot of yeah. That's true. That's true. What's the tooth? Oh, the toothpaste. Oh, I didn't know y'all wanted. I was just talking. Um, blue Listerine and hot and peroxide. I literally found it on TikTok, and I was like, you know, what, let me try this. Literally works like a charm. I ain't gonna say charm, but work. I mean, literally, it works. Like, and I think I was only using it for like a few months before I had went to the dentist. And this was a new dentist I had seen, and literally, he was like, "What are you doing? Like, you literally don't have plaque." He was like, "There's nothing for me to do." Like, I mean, he did what he did, but he was like, he literally like was stunned. But yeah, it's just have it's literally the blue Listerine and peroxide. And so what I do is I just do half and half. So like I basically bought two separate bottles of Listerine or whatever, pour one out, but and then basically fill half of the bottle up with Listerine, half with peroxide. So it's literally half and half. Shake it up, and I literally just use that every single day and just keep refilling it. So just pour it in your mouth and then just use that to brush. And it kind of foams up because, peroxide foams up or whatever. So just use that to literally brush, brush, brush. Of course, when I floss, but brush, brush, brush. And it literally helps with bad breath. Literally the morning breath is not really that bad compared to how it would be. Some people have morning breath. So I have morning breath. um normally, but it's literally not bad at all with this. And then of course even throughout the day, I know there's just a freshness, even of course eating and things like that, but there's still just a freshness that I can literally feel and notice a difference in my mouth since using it. So that's what's been working for me. I have heard about the coconut, the oil pulling. I haven't tried that. I'm going to though. I have heard about that. The aluminum free deodorant, it do that's what it is. That aluminum, like, I know they said the aluminum ain't healthy, but you need the aluminum because apparently the aluminum, whatever it do, it keep you fresh. So I'm like, shoot. Just I was gonna say it's in the food now. There's so much chemicals. Yeah, that's true. That does make sense. I guess I can see how. Yeah, please share your recipe. Hey, here I make a lot of extra things that mess with your body chemistry. Yeah. Hey, Kirsten. Yeah, so that's the my tooth it ain't the toothpaste, but my mouth cleansing recipe. Simple. And, yeah. Even though this is the teeth are whiter, from that, I mean, like I said, and when I first started, that was within a matter of a couple months. I don't even think it was more than a couple months that I tried that before I went to go see that new dentist, and he gave that feedback. So y'all should try it if you're open to it, I would definitely try it. And it lasts, I don't know, I normally get the big bottle of Blue Listerine and then, peroxide normally comes in one standard bottle, but I don't know how long it lasts. I gotta keep track of how often I replace it. But it lasts. I mean, especially when you brush your teeth. I mean, at least twice a day. I brush my teeth at least twice a day. More now, especially now that I got these aligners. So every single time that I eat, I have to brush my teeth. So I use it more often now, within the past couple of weeks. But normally, I mean, at least 2, 3 times a day. It lasts pretty long. I mean, at least over a month. So probably more than a month, maybe month and a half, 2 months. I mean, oil pulling since February, really. Highly recommend. So many benefits. Okay, and so you literally just like put a spoonful of coconut in your mouth, coconut oil in your mouth, and then just let it melt, and then just swish it around. Is that literally what you do? The meat is genetically modified too. Yeah, who's allergic to cinnamon? That's crazy. Me, I can't eat cinnamon. It's so much. I have so many. I ain't gonna say so many, but there's several foods and ingredients that I just cannot have anymore. I used to be able to have them at one point. Not cinnamon. I realized I learned I was always kind of had a reaction to that. But for the most part, there's a lot of ingredients and foods that I used to be able to eat that I literally my body will not tolerate anymore without. either breaking me out or making my stomach hurt. The digestive changes I noticed, like, it's crazy. Cinnamon is so good though. So I'm hurt. No, I'm okay. I've adjusted to it now. But I was dating this guy and he never stunk, really. Even when he went to the bathroom and didn't stink, really. Was he like a vegan? Like, did he eat a certain way? Yeah, and even with even though I have a very, very, very specific, very limited diet, things that I can and cannot eat. So I literally eat the same thing over and over again. But even with that, sometimes some of it is still I mean, I don't necessarily, I don't know, make every single thing from scratch or whatever. So some of it I guess would still can be considered processed and all that stuff. I do eat some meat. Just chicken. I only eat white. I can't eat red meat. And I don't eat fried foods, but like I'll eat chicken or turkey. Which I kind of want to get away from. I eat fish too, like salmon. That's the only fish I really like. But other than that, though, and then there's very limited snacks that I can have because I'm gluten free, dairy free, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So there's very limited snacks. There's like two or three snacks that I like that I can eat that don't have any main ingredients in it that I can't have. But even like with the limited things that I do eat, I can always tell sometimes, like, if I eat something off or try something different, I can always tell how it digests and things like that. So it's like even some of the stuff that is considered healthy or like vegan options, there's still stuff in it, and I can always tell the way my body digests it. So it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. And then it's like, I mean, trying to figure out how to eat organically and as organic as possible in today's world without all of the additives and knowing how to eat a healthy, balanced vegan diet, knowing how to have a healthy, balanced vegan diet and still get all of your nutrients. That's a challenge for a lot of people. And knowing what supplements you still have to take, even if you do have a vegan diet, because I've been seeing studies and things on that, that even if you do have a vegan diet, there's certain nutrients or vitamins that do come from the foods that you will not get if you are vegan. So there's certain supplements that you have to take. That's what I've been seeing. So it's like just trying to figure out how to balance that, how to make sure you're getting all your vitamins and all your nutrients without all of the extra additives. It's like, how? Really, he didn't. That's so weird. That's so crazy. They did have perfumes. Yeah, because I know they was saying that in the Bible. Like when they was making the stuff for the tent, they did have the perfume. So yeah, so I guess yeah. I You don't know what a beastie. He stink now. That's funny. Oh my gosh. There's this one guy that I know that used to swear up and down that his breath didn't stink in the morning, but it did though. Like I smelled it one time, and I'm like, why do he think his breath don't stink? Cause it do. Like it wasn't the most horrible thing, but it did smell. So I'm like, I think some people are deceived. Like I definitely smelled it. Like I said, it wasn't the horrible thing. It wasn't the most horrible smell, but it was close enough to where I could smell it. Lemons are a natural deodorant. Lemons? Like, would you just cut it up and then rub it on your underarms? Coconut oil melts easily as soon as you put it in your mouth. It will melt. Okay, switch it for 10 minutes. Oh wow. Okay. And do you do it every day? Or how often do you do it? The land provided mint and coconuts for oil like the olives. The land. Okay. That makes sense. Hmm. Hmm. Lime says deodorant, but it may not hold depending on the diet. Hmm. Tell me what you use. No, he was delusional. China people do be delusional. Um, for the Crystal, you talking about for the toothpaste thing or whatever? The Listerine and the I don't know if you probably catching up on the, are you catching up on the live? The, I use the blue Listerine and peroxide. I just mix the blue Listerine because it's only the blue Listerine, not the other ones. The blue Listerine and the peroxide, and I basically just empty out the bottle, do half and half, shake it up, and I use that every day. It is a challenge. I was vegan for a couple of years, and you had to go back to meat. Yeah, see? And it's like, how do you know how I guess my question would be, how would you know how would you be able to find out what nutrients you need? Like, what nutrients you're I wonder, is there some type of test or something that you can take that would be able to tell you what nutrients you might be deficient in so that you can supplement them? Because I know meat does have certain, nutrients, protein and stuff like that. Um, I mean, I try to be careful even with I mean, anything that I use, any food that I do eat, I always try my best to use like organic options, obviously gluten-free options, dairy-free options, but I try my best to use like organic options. But even then, it's like, okay, what's really organic? What's really natural? Still gotta look at the ingredients. Still gotta see where the stuff was processed. Still gotta see where the stuff was raised or bred or whatever different stuff. So it's like, wish there was some type of test that you can do on your own to be able to tell you. I'm sure there is somewhere, or just access to more nutritionists that are skilled and educated for real and experienced in like organic living without all of the textbook stuff. That's what we need more of. But in America, I think in our culture, in the Western culture, I don't I don't know that there's too many. I'm sure they're around, but they're not. I don't think every city just has access to them. I've never even heard of one. What oil are you using, China? Coconut oil are you using? We went vegan for 3 years, minus my husband and oldest for son. But we started including fish, so now we're pescatarian. Yeah, yeah. I thought about pescatarian. I have a friend who's pescatarian. But how do you know that you're getting all your nutrients though, Kirsten? Like, how do you measure that? And Miss Stephanie, how did you know that your body was missing what it needed from meat? Like, what was the difference that you felt? And what's the difference that you feel now that you added meat back to your diet? It's a challenge. I'm trying to go pescatarian. It's a challenge, so I haven't fully committed yet. It is. Oh, you was vegan for 8 years, Marcella. What made you go back? It is a challenge, and it's like I would love to go pescatarian, but I want to make sure that I'm getting. I want to make sure that you know, I just think it's important to make sure that when you do switch your diet, you're making sure that you still get your nutrients. You can go to a functional medicine doctor to find out what your body needs. It's expensive and usually not covered by insurance, but they run a test. Oh, really? Functional medicine doctor. Wonder do we have one here? Functional. Because we got our regular doctors, our PCPs, they do the whole blood panel test and all of that stuff. But but they don't necessarily even test for all of the vitamins though. Like sometimes you have to specify for them to even test for like vitamin D levels or something like that. Like you have to specify like the CBC panels and all of that stuff. Um, it only covers a certain like range of stuff. You still have to specify for them to test for certain nutrients. Like, okay, can you make sure that you test my vitamin D levels? Can you make sure you test this level and that level? It ain't even included in the standard blood panel test, and I think that it should be in every physical or whatever, annual physical, whatever you call it, like, I think that should be standard to test every single nutrient. I don't know why that's not included. But of course, the people gonna get their money some way, somehow, through insurance or through your pockets. Oh, we do. We have some holistic medicine. root functional medicine. Got a couple here. Gotta be careful with them. I gotta see. But anywho, yeah. Yeah, if y'all do try the Listerine and peroxide, for a little while, let me know how it worked for you. Do it for even like after a couple weeks, you'll notice a difference. Cold press organic oil. Okay. Cold press. Your brother rep don't? You think it's a you think it was a marijuana though, really? Well, people who smoke weed, their breath just smell like weed from my experience. Your mom is a pescatarian. Wow. Mm. You get blood work once a year and took certain supplements like vitamin D and B12. Okay. Wow. Nice. Okay. Take vitamin D. You need to probably take B12. I don't know. I need to see how do you know if you're B12? I wonder did my doctor test for that. I gotta see. I don't know. I remember I used to get B12 shots, like, because I used to be a medical assistant. Well, I got certified to be a medical assistant. Then when I did my internship and I was working in a doctor's office, I did not like it. I'm like, yeah, this ain't the field for me. But I used to get the people B12 shots. That's the most I've ever heard about B12, or that's the most I've ever learned about B12. I don't know nothing else about it. I don't even know what B12 is. I need to, yeah. Your hair was thinning. Really low energy, physically just didn't feel right. So yeah, the seafood and the other meats. Wow. Hmm. That is so ain't that so interesting? Like, it's how much your diet, what you eat, what you don't eat affects you. Like, that's so crazy. Wow. Well, I'm glad you was able to figure out what was going on and add it back into your diet and you good now, like. But did we go over 4? Um, sorry, I don't even know if we went over 4, but this sin offerings. I'm sorry, y'all. We just talking, which is good. I enjoy it. But um, so did I read chapter 4 already? I don't think I did. Did we read chapter 4? You went vegan after reading about Dr. CB. Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff before, but I also saw like some of the stuff. It seems like somebody. I don't know. It seems like they've been kind of manipulating or just kind of changing his stuff, his content and stuff. We didn't read chapter 4. Sorry, I thought we read chapter 4 already. My bad. Got into this conversation. Leviticus 4, the sin offering. I'm sorry, y'all, because I was about to say, all right, y'all, let's close out. My bad. Okay, the sin offering. Chapter 4, verse 1. Nope, show didn't read this. Nope, not out, not no, we didn't read this. Okay. Leviticus chapter 4, verse 1. The sin offering. The Lord said to Moses, tell the people of Israel this: when a person sins by accident and does some things the Lord has commanded not to be done, the person must do these things. If the appointed priest sins so that he brings guilt on the people, then he must offer a young bull to the Lord, one that has nothing wrong with it, as a sin offering for the sin he has done. He will bring the bull to the entrance of the meeting tent in front of the Lord, put his hand on his head, and kill it before the Lord. Then the appointed priest must bring some of the bull's blood into the meeting tent. The, the priest is to dip his finger into the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain of the most holy place. The priest must also put some of the blood on the corners of the altar of incense that stands before the Lord in the meeting tent. The rest of the blood he must pour out at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering, which is at the entrance of the meeting tent. He must remove all of the fat from the bull of the sin offering, the fat on and around the inner organs, both kidneys with the fat that is on them near the lower back muscle, and the best part of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. He must do this in the same way the fat was removed from the bull of the fellowship offering. Then the priest must burn the animal parts on the altar of the burnt offering. But the priest must carry off the skin of the bull and all its meat along with the rest of the bull, its head, legs, intestines, and other inner organs. He must take out he must take it outside the camp to the special clean place where the ashes are poured out. He must burn it on the wood fire of the pile of ashes. If the whole nation of Israel sins accidentally without knowing it and does something the Lord has commanded not to be done, they are guilty. When they learn about the sin they have done, they must offer a young bull as a sin offering and bring it before the meeting tent. The elders of the group of people must put their hands on the bull's head before the Lord, and it must be killed before the Lord. Then the appointed priest must bring some of the bull's blood into the meeting tent. Dipping his finger in the blood, he must sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain. Then he must put some of the blood on the corners of the altar that is before the Lord in the meeting tent. The priest must pour out the rest of the blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering, which is at the entrance to the meeting tent. He must remove all the fat from the animal and burn it on the altar. He will do the same thing with this bull that he did with the first bull on the sin offering. In this way, the priest removed the sins of the people so they will belong to the Lord and will be forgiven. Then the priest must carry the bull outside the camp and burn it, just as he did with the first bull. This is a sin offering for the whole community. If a ruler sins by accident and does something the Lord his God has commanded must not be done, he is guilty. When he learns about his sin, he must bring a male goat that has nothing wrong with it as his offering. The ruler must put his hand on the goat's head and kill it in the place where they kill the whole burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering. The priest must make some of the blood of the sin offering on his finger and put it on the corners of the altar of burnt offering. He must pour out the rest of the blood at the bottom of the burnt offering. He must burn all the goat's fat on the altar in the same way he burns the fat of the fellowship offerings. In this way, the priest removes the ruler's sins, so he belongs to the Lord, and the Lord will forgive him. If any person in the community sins by accident and does something which the Lord has commanded must not be done, he is guilty. When the person learns about his sin, he must bring a female goat that has nothing wrong with it as an offering for his sin. He must put his hand on the animal's head and kill it at the place of the whole burnt offering. Then the priest must take some of the goat's blood on his finger and put it on the corners of the altar of the burnt offering. He must pour out the rest of the goat's blood at the bottom of the altar. Then the priest must remove all the goat's fat in the same way the fat is removed from the fellowship offerings. He must burn it on the altar as a smell pleasing to the Lord. In this way, the priest will remove that person's sin so he will belong to the Lord and the Lord will forgive him. If this person brings a lamb as his offering for a sin, he must bring an animal that has nothing wrong with it. He must put his hand on the animal's head and kill it as a sin offering in the place where the whole burnt offering is killed. The priest must take some of the blood from the sin offering on his finger and put it on the corners of the altar of burnt offering. He must pour out the rest of the lamb's blood at the bottom of the altar. Then the priest must remove all the lamb's fat in the same way that the lamb's fat is removed from the fellowship offerings. He must burn the pieces on the altar on top of the offerings made by fire for the Lord. In this way, the priest will remove that person's sin, so he will belong to the Lord, and the Lord will forgive him. All right, the sin offering. Okay. That's why I posted the other day about this. Ooh, they had to do so much for forgiveness of sin and other things. Glad I got Jesus. Yeah, make sure to appreciate this time in life and make me want to do right. Right, Nikki, I was just typing shout out to Jesus because this is about. Yeah, you did mention this the other day, Nikki. Yeah, they had to do so much. Like, thankfully, there was still grace and mercy, and the Lord forgave them. But they had to do much more than just repenting of their sins and turning away from their wicked ways. They had to just kill bulls and sprinkle the blood and do all kinds of stuff. Like, so crazy. But this was what they had to do. And so we see there was, and just we see how just the responsibility for it says that the priest sinned even accidentally. And so I think in the next chapter, some of the examples of accidental sins are listed in the next chapter, which we'll read about tomorrow. Again, remember tomorrow will be recorded. I'm going to have to record tomorrow. And then, yeah. So anyways, so we won't be on here live tomorrow. It will be recorded. But by the time in the morning, I'll record it I think I'm gonna record it right after this, honestly, just so I can get out the way and have it uploaded. So, but it'll be uploaded and made public overnight. So, but it says that the priest sinned, then and says that he bring guilt on the people, right? So that just speaks to the level of accountability, I guess, and just the responsibility that that they had as leaders, because as a leader, you're supposed to be an example, and kind of be an expression of your dedication and your commitment to the Lord, right? But thankfully, it says even these are accidental sins. So it's not like they just had a heart trying to just rebel against God and things like that. These are accidental sins. But either way, from the priests to the rulers of the land to just the people in the community, when they accidentally sinned and came into knowledge of it, right? So that means that I think sometimes there are things that you can ways that people can accidentally sin against God and not necessarily understand that it's a sin, right? So I think there are sins that's blatantly like we know that the Lord has said, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, whatever that is. And then I think that there's some where it's like you might not necessarily have known that that was a sin, but you come into it, you come into knowledge like, oh wow, I didn't even I didn't even realize that that was a sin, until you read it or until you hear about it. It's like, dang. So when you come into knowledge that something that you did was kind of outside of the will of God or, whatever, then I think that's when it, really matters of how you handle it from there, if you repent or not. But they definitely had to go through a whole lot more. But I bet having to go through all that just to repent should have made them not want to sin no more. I mean, based on my understanding, we originally supposed to eat fruit and the animals, vegetables. It's like as soon as sin entered, even the animals were affected. Yeah, that's true. Um, let me see. Yeah, because 29 says, I have given you the plants and grains. So at first, right, yeah, at first, there was really no mention at first in Genesis of them eating the animals. They were just given the plants and the grains and the trees. So it seemed like they lived a vegan lifestyle. And it says they given the green plants as food for every animal. So even the animals ate the plants or whatever. I know later on there is mention of people of eating the animals and stuff like that, but then it had to be eating certain parts of the animal and the clean parts of the animal and things like that. But you right, there was no mention of aggressive animals or anything like that. I do believe sin corrupted all living creatures. But I wonder when that happened though. I really wonder when the animals being dangerous happened because we see even now this is after the fall, right? But we still don't hear of any animals being dangerous in the Bible, really. I don't think we hear of any animals harming people at all in the Bible. Is there? Like at all, even in the New Testament, like there's no mention of it. I mean, for these people to be able to pick up a bull and kill it, you know, that there's no way that would happen today. A bull would trample a human being today. Like, well, oh yeah, well the lion, oh yeah. But other than that though, like I guess just thinking right now, like how are they able to get these bulls? How are they able to kill these lambs? Well, lambs I don't think are really harmful, but a bull? But I don't know. Excuse me. But I guess at that point, by that time, when you mentioned Daniel in the lion's den, I guess by that time, yeah, the expectation was for them to be devoured by the lion, but he wasn't. But so I guess I don't know. Hmm, that's just interesting. Maybe bulls are not as aggressive as we think they are, according to the Bible. It's just how they're depicted and maybe how they've been trained, because the raging bulls and people be bull riding and stuff like that. Maybe they've been trained to be like that for entertainment. Maybe not wild bulls. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. People taming have been taming animals. Yeah, yeah. I think they were tamed. I believe people can make animals act other ways. Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. They tame them like they do with dogs. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So yeah, and I imagine that they did have to tame their animals in the Bible days. So that makes sense. Yeah. But no, you're right though. I mean, and just think before the fall, none of this even would have been necessary in the first place. None of these offerings would have even been necessary because sin wouldn't have been an issue. So no animals would have even had to have been offered. But thankfully, despite all that they had to go through, right? They didn't have Jesus to atone for their sins, right? But thankfully, despite all that they had to go through, they were able to be made right with God, right? The Lord forgave them. He took the person's sins was removed. They belonged to the Lord, and the Lord forgave them. So that's the victory, I guess, in and through it all. Mm. So yeah, so that's that. That's our readings for today. Excuse me. Mm. Hmm. Anything else, guys? So remember, tomorrow will be recorded, no live tomorrow. I'm gonna make a little flyer or whatever to post in a group. Tomorrow is gonna be, I don't know what you're gonna call it, but remember when I said like Saturdays would be the day to like promote your stuff or whatever. I don't know if you have anything that you want to share or have a business that you want people to support or anything like that, or um, an initiative you want people to support or something like that. Not asking for money though, but just having people support what you're doing. If you do have um, a page or something that you want people to support, going ahead and do that on Saturdays. I'll make a little flyer for that. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best over the weekend to try to lock down a hotel for the weekend. I mean, a hotel for Houston. We'll see though. Over the weekend, sometimes it's not that easy to get in touch with the event planners and or whoever the salespeople or whoever you got to talk to at these hotels. So I try my best though. And other than that, we'll be back on live on Monday, but the recording will be up for tomorrow. So I want y'all to have a great weekend. Do you think the more aggressive humans got towards animals, the change happened? Hmm. Oh, wait. Some ways you are. What are some ways you all worship? What really? Um, as far as the more aggressive humans got towards animals, maybe. But I guess when would we have seen when would we have seen people getting more aggressive towards animals? I guess. Excuse me. Where would that change have happened? And then what really helps you get in? What ways do y'all worship? I'm gonna post it in the Geneva app as well. But Superbook is a good biblical show. My kids love it and I like it. It's kind of like VeggieTales. Okay, but animated. And you enjoy it. Okay, that help you. Prayer, worship music, the Zoom. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Your Zoom meeting. You have orientation today. Really? So it was like for a new position or like a promotion. Check in the morning. Hotel rates are cheaper. Oh really? Okay, I will. So I never even heard of Superbook. Yeah, definitely gotta watch it. I mean, yeah, as far as worship, I mean, for me, it is normally worship music. There's very now there's very few sources that I listen to for worship music. Um, one of which when I started playing the music this week, that's one that I listen to. His name is Victor Thompson Music on YouTube. I try to listen to what I would consider or what appears to be or what I believe is pure, authentic worship. So I listen to really, yeah, just listen to turn on some worship music. Um, I mean, it just depends on whatever the mode is, or whatever. Bowing down, getting on my knees, laying prostrate, walking around praying, just sitting, just depends. But normally, though, turning on worship music, that's the first thing. Just turning on some worship music that normally kind of helps set the tone for me, and then just kind of go from there, whatever that look like. You know what I think though? Sometimes I do believe that, I sometimes I wonder if what we've made prayer and worship to look like because of how we used to seeing it and how we've been taught to do it in church. I really wonder if that's how it was in the Bible. Not saying that it don't have its place, not saying that it don't take all that. I'm not saying that. But I just wonder if we've been trained to do it a certain way. So we think that if we're not doing it that way, we're not doing anything. Like you just gotta go all in. You gotta be all loud and you gotta be all doing all this stuff that we do in church as if you're performing. But when we read in the Bible, I mean, yeah, and especially like once we get into like Psalms and stuff like that or whatever, we'll start to read a lot about praise and how David danced and all of that stuff. Like we'll start to see some of that, like so that has its place. But a lot of times when people had these encounters with God and even with Jesus and praying and stuff like that, they was simply they honored and respected his presence. They bowed, they made altars, and they had conversations. They prayed, they listened. The Lord spoke, and they went about whatever the Lord told them to do. Right? It was simple, but it was intentional. It was sacrificial. So it's like when we say, "What do worship really look like?" By whose standards? What is worship supposed to look like? Right? Like where do we learn what worship looks like from? It is good. I be telling my kids, "Don't watch without me." That's funny. New position. Okay, nice. I'll have to take a test for my finance license. I'll meet with some of the people next week to discuss more about the company. Wow, congratulations. That's dope. Do you know I can watch seasons 3 to 5 at? Oh, is it on YouTube? Is Superbook on YouTube or where's that? Do y'all know about a meditation that can lead you into his presence? Do y'all like meditation? Um, wait, oh, you saying mediation? Are you saying like wait, are you saying meditation? So like um what do you mean by that? Like, what's your definition of that, Joy? Honestly, we just yeah, like what but what's yeah, what's your definition of that, of meditation? Like, Like, when I think of meditation, I think like it's like somebody talking, leading you through how to worship, or kind of telling you what to do. Like, what do you mean by meditation? We just came across it recently. I look into it and get with you. And if you find out, okay, that's what I was thinking. Are we trained? Yeah, worship different for everybody. What might work for one? Yeah, some of the episodes are on YouTube, the first 2 seasons. Yeah, I mean, it's saying it was canceled. It's 3 seasons of you. Oh, okay, so it's a show. Okay. Hmm. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I know, especially like when we read. I mean, either leading into peaceful with peaceful music. Okay. Um, as far as I mean, if I'm understanding you correctly, like you're just saying like worship music, right? Are you wait, I don't get it. I don't know why I'm are you meaning either leading into peaceful? Try to stay quiet first. Yeah. Are you asking like wait, I don't get it. A meditation that can lead you into his presence. Kind of so when I think of meditation, so something like, okay, lay down in a comfortable position. Now close your eyes and imagine that you are in the presence of the Lord. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, think about um no, I don't know of any. I wonder could I make one? I think I got a meditation voice. How I was just saying I was being funny. I mean I was being serious, but I was kind of being funny. But I wonder could I make one? But no, I don't know of any like that though. I mean, I'm sure they might exist, but I haven't. I don't. I've never looked into one. But yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. Like if we look in the Bible, like even Revelations, like how they was worshiping and like how would say, they were bowing down and they were just saying holy, 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 and that they were that was just all they were saying, right? So I can imagine that maybe that obviously that's an example of what worship looks like. But I literally just think it's different for everybody, right? For some that might look like it's just different for everybody. And I don't know that it necessarily has to look like what you see or what you're told to do in church. Okay, everybody lift your hands. Everybody clap. Like we make worship, praise and worship, like Simon says in the church. And I understand like maybe kind of getting people to express their praise and worship to the Lord, but I don't know that that's necessarily what it has to look like. So I would encourage to just pray, okay, God, teach me what does it look like for me to worship you for real, in spirit and in truth? Like, what does it mean for me to express worship and praise to you? And then just whatever you feel, like whatever, I ain't gonna say feel like, oh, I don't feel like it, not like that, but like whatever you feel led to do, if it's bowing down on your knees, like, or if it's just, sitting, or if it's laying prostrate, or if it is lifting your hands, if it is closing your eyes, if it is listening to music, or like whatever, just go after you pray that, just go with what you feel led, what feels normal and natural to you, and don't worry about is this right or is this wrong. You know, I think maybe start there. For me, I don't use music. I just sit and pray and allow the Holy Spirit. And yeah, yeah. And everybody don't use music. Music is not always necessary. It's really not. So yeah, everybody don't use music. You should make one. You was actually into it. Really? I was gonna say I did feel a little something like I gotta see how to make one. I would make one. I gotta see how to do it. Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure you could. I'm sure I could do it somehow on YouTube. Hmm. Imma look into it. It sound like the Calm app. That's funny. Imma look into it. I think maybe listening to instrumental instrumental worship music and quiet, yeah, yeah. And you can just Google instrumental worship music. You know who has good instrumental, music too is, Nathaniel Cole. If you look up Nathaniel Cole, C-O-E, I think it's Nathaniel Cole III, but if you type in Nathaniel Cole, it'll come up. But he has, instrumental, worship music. Some is worship music, warfare music, like, he has, good instrumental music as well. All his music is instrumental. And, like I said, Victor Thompson music, that's one that I've, recently started tuning into. I like his worship, music, and he has so many videos on his page, just hours of stuff, hours of soul music, prayer and stuff like that. All of his videos are an hour. Some is 20 minutes, some is an hour, some is 4 hours, like, but I like his music. Or and what I believe the Lord is doing through him is really, really authentic and pure worship, I believe. I just never, I just really think I've never thought about it yet because you're trying to do it a certain way and sometimes you get irritated. Yeah, no, I get it, Joy. Yeah, yeah, yep. I'm um I'm definitely at yeah, yeah, I ain't gonna say that. Let me just yeah. I would just say pray and ask the Lord, what does this look like for me to express worship to you? And then just go by that, a do-over, really. Allow God to just lead you how he wants you to authentically worship him. It's for it's forced. We are trying to find a church family. I've been looking into different things. What do you know? What do you know about 7 Day Adventists? Have a blessed day, y'all. Okay, bye, Amira. See y'all. Yes, yes, yes. See y'all. Enjoy your weekend. And I'm gonna reach out to you and we can figure out what time is best to talk, Amira. I got you. Yes, good, Joy. Start from scratch. Um, Kirsten, I don't know anything about 7 Day Adventists, honestly. I have no idea whatsoever what they're about. I don't know. Do anybody else know about 7 Day Adventists? I've never even had an encounter with one. I've never been to a service. I don't know if I've ever even had a conversation with somebody who was a 7 Day Adventist, so I know absolutely nothing about it. I'm not a big music person, so that won't work for me. Yeah, you would just be a copycat. Yeah, and you have to know that. Yeah, I was you do have to be careful with music, right? Even if it's worship music, you don't want to do something just because they're telling you to do it or whatever. Um, so I don't know. You just gotta go with what you feel led to do. Some music is great for some people. Sometimes it won't work for people. I heard of it. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, guess you just might have to go and visit the church. Kirsten, and see. They're part of the Protestant denomination. Yeah, you kind of probably just have to go and see what it's about. I just looked up some stuff online. It's some stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Mm, my salvation was so real. I may be looking for that in worship. Well, you said your salvation was real. You may be looking for that in worship. Well, What do you mean? Your salvation was real, and you might be looking for that. Oh, oh, I see. Okay, so you're looking for that authenticity in worship. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. If any man, worship has to be pure. Um, I don't know. I don't like being when we're in church and you're feeling forced or trying to force people to lift up your hands. How you gonna sit there and not clap after all the Lord did for you? Lift up your hands, close your eyes, raise your hands, do this, do that. Like, I don't know where we got that from. I read the basics, just want to know. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. It does. It's very irritating now. And I'm saying that like just gaining more knowledge of how just certain things are done in the church again, not against the church. Church is good, important. It's important. The fellowship among believers is important. I believe it church is necessary, but just some of the things that happen in church. Just looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, right. Oh yeah. Tell your neighbor, oh my gosh. I cannot stand that. But I think that's just me though. That's me being an introvert. No, I don't want to talk. Don't. No, 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 no. I don't want to turn and say this to my neighbor. I don't want to keep, make me turn and say something 10 times already. We are blessed to be here. Turn to your neighbor and say, blessed. Mm, you coming out. I ain't going back. Turn to your neighbor and say, you ain't going back. Mm, all right, get ready to get your offering. Make sure you got your envelopes. Turn to your neighbor and say, I got my envelope. Golly. Amen. Turn to your neighbor and say, amen. Oh my God. I'm not. Just leave me alone. Goodness gracious, I can't stand it. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. This just drain me thinking about it. Like I do not like that. But anyways, that's why I say people worship differently. Yeah, I cry, raise my hand, sing whatever I'm feeling at the moment. Yeah, Nikki, people do worship differently. So you just gotta find and do what's authentic to you. Which are not authentic to you as in being lazy or not doing anything, but genuinely what you feel led of the Lord to do and what really makes you believe that you really are genuinely authentically worshiping the Lord, whatever that looks like. I had one try to make me fall off from lands and I'm sorry not playing with God like that. Yeah. Yeah, some people will push you kind of hard to make sure you fall. It ain't even their spot. It's me, not you. Right, right. From one time, this pastor was going in all kinds of theatrical stuff. Turn to your neighbor and say this, turn to your neighbor, just hooping and hollering up a storm. And I just got to the point, I'm like, I literally just looked over. She was about to say something. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm about to go. Like literally, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, I just can't. Mm-mm. She just started laughing. I was done. I'm like, yeah, yeah, no. We ain't gonna keep on doing this. Mm-mm. Thankfully, you know, I don't have to deal with that anymore. But that was automatic turn off. Automatic turn off. But anyways, used to tell people to run a holster. Man, yeah, and we be running too. It has its place, but some of that is just Monkey see, monkey do, Simon says. Just, mm. Anyways, it'd be awkward sometimes. It do be awkward. Mm. It's getting bad. I'm out of the awkwardness though. It's just like, listen, I know, listen, I ain't, thankfully I'm not a part of a church or any churches now that do all that. But even when I was, it's like, even the church I was previously a part of, it's like, yeah, nope, 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 nope. This ain't it. This ain't it at all. But there are churches, thank God, and I know that I know it might be a challenge trying to find a good fit and trying to find a church that you genuinely feel the presence of the Lord at, and that you feel the Lord has really led you to. So I pray that if those who are in search of a church home and a fellowship and a body of believers, that you do find that church home that's good, and that you feel the authentic presence of the Lord. And that the leaders are genuine, they have a heart for God, you truly feel like this is a place where you can grow in the Lord and gain true authentic wisdom and revelation knowledge in the Lord, because that's what's important. So all right, guys, I hope that you all have a great weekend. I really do. Gave me a little laugh this morning. Good Joy. Too much, it's too much. We are past all the shenanigans, no, for real, beyond all of it. I'm quick to be like, no, thank you. Ugh, beyond done with it. Beyond done with it. Especially now, you know, I think after the pandemic really did create a shift in the culture of church as we know it, right? People could not gather in buildings, first of all. So people got accustomed to being at home, even if they was used to being in the building. But people who wanted to be in the building and couldn't, I think that shifted them. People who didn't like church anyways, that was just even more of an excuse to not go, right? But um now, having experienced the pandemic and a lot of what a lot of people experienced in the pandemic, like I think it gave some people a true hunger for God to where it's like they don't want to play no more. Like they it's just different. Like if they gonna be in the church, it needs to be something real. Then there's some who like they ain't going back. There's some people that done turned all the way left. Somehow, some way, being out of church, especially with the pandemic, they done shot left. Left is this way. They done shot left. So I don't know. I don't know. I do think within the last few years things have shifted, but even before then, no. Stop. You stopped a while back. You stepped back. After the second attempt, I don't want allow people to make me feel shame regardless of a crowd. Yeah, yeah. If you stand on it, you don't let people intimidate me for sure. No, for sure. Yeah, I think that's important, y'all. And I don't know if it's still be happening, but like those, you know, the services where the guest speakers and preachers and prophets and stuff like that, and be, laying hands and prophesying and doing all this stuff, which is good if that's what the Lord leads. But be careful. You don't always have to allow hands to be laid on you and falling all out and doing what you feel. Don't perform because you feel like that's what you're supposed to do in front of people. Don't perform. You don't have to receive a prophecy. You don't have to receive a prophecy. You don't know if it's from God. You should always test any prophecy, anyways. Just Lord, is this from you? Confirm it. If it's not, I reject it. I mean, I think that's just wisdom, anyways. But mm-mm. As soon as the prophet say, lift your hands. No. What are you saying first? I had this one pastor that claimed to be a prophet. My spirit immediately rejected him. It was in a church service. This was some years ago. I was like, I had this just the worst feeling. Like my spirit immediately rejected him. I'm like, something about him ain't right. And he was just caught us, prophesying to some other people in the church. And it was just, I'm like, he is not right. Like the prophetic words he was given, it wasn't even nothing you can tell. It was like, I don't know. It was just off. Something was really off about him. So honestly, I was legitimately praying like that the Lord just only speak His words to His mouth, blah blah blah. Lo and behold, this man called me. I'm doing photography at the time, in the church. This man called me up to the front, and it showed all over my face apparently because everybody was like, "Are you okay? Like, why? What's going on?" Like, I literally did not want to. Like, I stopped and I hesitated for like a minute before I even went up. So I grudgingly went up because in my mind I literally remember like, "Okay, what do I do? What do I do?" Like, I literally want to tell this man no. Like, I was so hesitant with going up. So I went up, and I'm just like he could tell I was just looking like no, no. He's telling me to raise my hands, I wouldn't do it. And then he told me to kinda go I believe if I remember correctly, he told me to go back and then, like, leave like, go back to the back and then come back up, like, kinda like with a better attitude is pretty much what he was saying. So at that point, I remember literally thinking like, "Okay, God, like, literally, what do I do?" I had never been in a situation like this before, I didn't know what to do, um, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, like, what do I do?" So I ended up going back up there. And, he said whatever he probably I don't even remember what the man said to me. I literally have no idea what came out of that man's mouth because I remember the whole time I'm just like, "I do not receive this. This is not of God. I do not want nothing to do with this." And then I just walked away. Like, when he was done, I just walked away. And everybody was like, "Ashley, are you okay?" Like, I ended up talking to my pastor afterwards about what I felt because I'm just like, this was not something I didn't want him to touch me. Like, I literally remember saying, I'm like, "I just did not want him to touch me. I cannot." I was rejecting him the entire time. Like, and it was weird, and I think they knew it was off too, because even afterwards, he had, called, like, for an offering and for people to bring up offerings, or something like that. What he something. So people was laying money on the altar, and the pastor didn't even receive the offering. He, like, was just he just I think he told people to just take the offering, like, "Anybody who needs money, if you're low on gas, just come up here and just get whatever you need off the altar." Like, he kinda gave the money back to the people. So I could tell that was his way of kind of rejecting it as well. But that was probably the first experience that I had with what I consider a false prophet. Like, my spirit just would not receive him at all. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever. And I've experienced that another time too. This mm, I don't know. Anyways, I got a couple of stories, but I'm like, At this point, I'm quick to be like, if that ever did happen again, absolutely not. No, no, thank you. No, thank you. You come up here. No, thank you. Nope. If I don't feel, but I mean, no, if I feel it's led by God, then I'm gonna go or whatever and receive it. But you know, if I automatically feel like no is off, I'm not going. You're not finna touch me. You're not finna make me open up my hands to try to receive whatever you're saying. No, no, no. Shut up. Satan, the Lord rebuke you. So do not feel forced to receive something that you genuinely believe is not from the Lord. Don't allow people to force you to manipulate you into receiving something that's not from God. Don't be all skeptical either to where you're not receiving from God either. But what I'm saying, for those who like is off, don't feel led to perform because that's not of God. They can wear a mask and attend. And that's what I do. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Because mask is still a thing. One of the reasons I went back to the Anglican church. What's the Anglican church? I was like that, but I'm like, nope, gotta go. God got me. Yeah, yep, needs to be in the number. Carissa said, not today, right? I missed a little because I had to go to a meeting, but have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, yeah. You too, Stephanie. So we're gonna get off of here. We're just talking. So I know we all love the Lord and desire an authentic relationship. Love this for us. I used to feel like I was on an island and misunderstood because of the mob mentality. Now I know there are others. There are others. Yes, Joy. I'm so glad that you have the heart that you have for God and that your testimony is what it is. Like, it's so beautiful, so amazing. So, and I'm glad that we are here together, people who love God, want to grow, and just want to be who God called them to be. So, yes, I love that for y'all. I love that for you. I love that for us. So, I'm going to let y'all go. People got to go on and get to work and do other stuff or whatever. And I got to do some stuff before I get dressed and get to work. And so, All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. Love y'all. Pray that the Lord cover you and keep you. I pray that you all have a blessed weekend. Again, we'll be on recording tomorrow. Be back on live on Monday. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.